Why, hello there. This is Nick Dutch back on the camera again one more time. Just looking in on this religion stroke superstition argument stroke debate which is going on. I just viewed Theo Warner's video, rather liked it, liked his arguments. I like him as an individual on YouTube because he's eloquent, educated. He's got a very good grasp of the use and skill of language and thought. And I think he put over quite a good argument there. His video at the time when I'm viewing it has got 24 likes and 38 dislikes, which I think is very interesting considering the way that things are on YouTube, the kind of people who are currently most passionately obsessed with their ideas and most passionately trying to defend their ideas. I wonder which particular psychological, emotional, or theological demographic this could be. But putting that aside, what would I personally mean when I would talk about superstition? I would say a style of reasoning or a style of conclusion generation which would lead to behavior of a certain type. I mean, I could, let's say, go to an examination room, and I could have anything in my pocket to give me a bit of extra confidence, just something which I know is mine, or would give me a feeling, oh, there you go, a cigarette lighter, to remind me of those good old-fashioned days when I used to smoke over 10 months ago, or 10 months ago, whatever it was. Yeah, that could give me a bit of confidence, because I've got something in my pocket which I could fiddle with, and you could say that if it gives me more confidence, then I'm more likely to succeed in the exam. Therefore, there is a correlation between me having something which is, you know, my cuddly moment or thing which represents safety or happiness present in my pocket. Could be the thing which could make or break my success within the exam. That would not be superstitious thoughts. Now, if I was to say, yeah, but this one is silver, therefore it has got something in it which will do the work for you, and therefore you don't need to know anything because this will do it all for you. Put that into your pocket and then go into the exam room. So you do no revision, you attend no classes, you know, and then you go straight into the exam room. And you sit down, you've got the exam paper in front of you, and you just write your name on it and then walk out because you think that, yeah, you know, the fact that you've got the magic spark that will do it all for you, that's the thing which is going to do it. And even when you get your grade F or grade U for unmarked or whatever it is, you may still think inside your head, no, I've succeeded because, you know, I had my little special thing made of silver in my pocket. That would be superstitious. If someone is, let's say, picking up a particular group of ideas within a religion, say, let's say, by example, Wicca, okay, and there's various different symbols for the, you know, the eightfold way, the, you know, the various different things which represent essentially different coping mechanisms. And a person could look at these things quite objectively and possibly even atheistically, and say, well, you know, we can think creatively about the moral message of the scourge or of the athame or whatever it is, and use that, you know, as an intellectual coping mechanism. That's something which people within religions would do. But that's not superstitious. But for someone to then say that unless I have the scourge and the athame positioned correctly on my altar, then the goddess won't like me and I'll be treading on somebody's toes, and then it could be really bad for me, I would regard that as superstitious. So it's more to do with the way that people apply themselves intellectually to concepts, which in my mind is the dividing line between superstition and non-superstition, shall we say. Now, as far as religion and irrationality is concerned, I don't think that the dichotomy is quite so simple between rational and irrational. I think it's more to do with different forms of irrationality, some of which could actually be useful. Like I provided the example of having something in your pocket that reminds you of some happy time when you're doing an exam. That's thoroughly irrational. Completely irrational. But that's not necessarily superstitious. But we as humans, we are irrational. We develop irrational fears and anxieties about all kinds of things. And even our interpretation of facts, which are presented to us, could also verge upon the irrational. And that also doesn't help the whole, process of life. But that's what we are. So people's thinking can be very superstitious. I met someone recently who believed quite strongly that the decision to carry on living as opposed to committing suicide was purely an arbitrary decision. So he hadn't taken into account the biological imperative, your instincts, the way that, we're put together as humans, and also, the values of society which sort of prop you up and help you to become well-adjusted and become part of normality. All of these things can help to bring about a particular result, namely you carrying on living within the society. So he, in my mind's eye, actually had a superstitious attitude to why he carried on staying alive as opposed to not, blowing his brains out or stringing himself up one way or another. But still, he was obviously alive and relatively content with his life, or maybe not thinking too deeply, but he was still being definitely irrational and rather superstitious in terms of his approach to information about living. So it's complex. There are people in orthodox religions, you might say, such as Christianity, Judaism, Islam, and so on and so forth, who are way out superstitious. But there are also people in Christianity, Judaism, and Islam who are comparatively rational and very down to earth. So where are you going to draw the line? So the religion itself is not necessarily irrational. The religion itself might have lots of life lesson learnings which they can provide a person with, which can do them some good in a therapeutic or indeed a vaguely counseling orientated sense, which is therefore rational to use that form of irrationality. But it's not moving to the other extreme of irrationality of saying, well, if I don't wear a crucifix around my neck and go to church on a Sunday, then I'll go to hell and I'll burn for all eternity. Because that would be fucking mental. But there are people out there who are like that. They're the superstitious ones, in my opinion.